Hey everybody, welcome back to another video of DragonPasta. We're going to be doing something a little bit different today. We're going to be going through some anime suggestions that me and Andrew here have thought up of. We each picked five, and we haven't told each other what they are because I thought it would be, surprising to each other of what we picked. And they're just going to be suggestions. They're in no particular order. It's not our favorite anime from 2000 to 2010. It's just some anime suggestions that we thought of for maybe new people who have just started getting into anime and haven't really heard of some of the things that have come out before. So, Andrew's going to go first, and let's go.
All right. So some of the picks I've done is either ones I have weird history of, or ones I have like very specific memories of. But the first one I'm going to mention is Claned. Um, I don't know if a lot of people are really into like slice of life, kind of like just kind of people doing everyday things, and it is. It's people on websites. It is considered as a harem anime, but it's kind of hard to say. But
It's not.
it's yeah, I know. It's me and you go over this so many times. It's like there's so many animes that are classified as harem, but it's not. And like in Clannad, technically all the girls fall in love with the main character, but he likes the one girl, he marries the one girl, he's with the one girl. But should I give a synopsis of what it's about, or are you
I'm
just gonna
gonna
post it?
I'm gonna have a synopsis. Yeah, so yeah, I have a synopsis on the thing.
Okay. Um, I guess the reason why I like Clannad so much is because like I do watch a lot of like harem, or I do watch a lot of like slice of life anime, and like there's a lot of stuff about this that's very different. Like they have like funny scenes, like "Oops, I did this" or that, haha. But like there are actually funny scenes in Clannad, like things that are like gut bustingly funny. And what's great about the main character is that like most slice of life or harem things is like the main character is the normal guy, the main character is like the nice guy. He's like, oh, I'm a gentleman to ladies. This dude's a dick, but like a funny dick. He's a little delinquent. Like he's not nasty or like a punk. He's just kind of like sarcastic and like smug and everything. But it, I guess a comparison you could make is a more recent anime. If you ever watched the Bunny Girl Senpai that came out very recently, the main character of that has kind of like a. Do you know which anime I'm talking about, Mikey? Or
Oh, I do. Yes, I have seen that one.
that main character probably has like a similar kind of smug attitude as the guy from here. I think his name is Tomio, right? It's been a while
Hmm.
since I watched it,
Yes.
but yeah, if you like slice of life and you just kind of want to see like funny scenes and romantic scenes and just like interesting drama and stuff like that, I definitely recommend Clannad.
As I have seen Planet, I also agree. And I would just like to add that within that the romancing and the comedy, and there's also the overarching story between the two seasons with the robot and the desolate world.
Oh, that I remember. I was like, that is kind of like a supernatural like element to it. I didn't mind that, but it felt like really like if they didn't have that at all, I wouldn't have
Yeah,
cared.
it did it, but it does have something to do with the ending in the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would
Like
just like
they
to,
tie it
yeah.
all up in the end, but like you'll see it in the very beginning, and you're like, what's with this robot? And then at the ending, you're just like, oh, okay, sure, that makes sense.
And then the one other thing I would like to add is also another thing with harems that come out is the main character is the well it's the best thing to equate it to, right? The main character is the cool guy that gets all the girls, and then his best friend's the loser, you know. But fucking the best friend in this is so fucking good.
Oh yeah, he's
I
great. Like,
love him.
well, he kind of is a loser in this, but not only is he really funny, like they don't really like put him down. Like it's his like partner in crime, you know.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they do mischief together. Like it's kind of like actually an example of this. I'm gonna use Two Lover as an example. The best friend in Two Lover is kind of a piece of shit. He's a loser to look bad in comparison, but it's like, why are these guys even friends? Like he's not even like nice to him and the main character, and like there's no reason. Even he even says it in the show, like, "Why do I hang out with you?" But like with Claned, like
They're
I
actual
forgot.
friends.
Yeah, yeah, they do like dumb shit together, and um what's it called? They do pranks together or whatever. But what's funny to mention is that recently Game Grumps actually played Claned off the Switch,
Oh,
and they got
the light novel.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they got super bored of it.
I mean,
So
yeah, with the games they usually play, I don't know why they would do that.
yeah, um, but yeah, so yeah, that's my first recommendation. Now I know you were trying to guess at what I was gonna pick, but
Yeah.
were you gonna guess I was gonna do that one, or that was
No,
out of left
no,
field?
no,
Yeah.
no. That one I was not actually. Well, I'm not surprised you picked it because I do know that you like Clannad, but it's not the one
Yeah.
that I'm thinking of.
Okay. Well, yeah, go for it. It's your turn.
All right, so the first one that I would like to suggest is I know I said that it's not our favorite ones, and it's not a ranking, a list ranking, but first one I'm going to pick or suggest is Eureka 7.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Eureka 7. Um, you know, I'm a mecha fan, so that does definitely help. But it's not just that, right? The animation is, and this is probably gonna happen with a lot of ones I suggest. The animation is just so fluid, like it's just so good when they're flying around in the sky, when they're doing their battles and everything, and like the art style, the theme that they do for the show, like it's not quite hip hop, right? But it's more like if skater met hip hop kind of thing, but in the '80s, and the story is actually really deep once you get actually it's just really deep from like the beginning, really. And the
Uh,
character, yeah.
oh yeah, say your full thing because I have
Oh,
something really dumb to say after that.
I only have a couple more points I'm going to touch on.
Oh yeah, go for it.
The characters of the show, uh they actually have character growth throughout the series. They start out in one way and you watch them evolve towards the end, which is something that doesn't really happen a lot in shows now. It's kind of just like, this is main character. Main character does this. This is ending. The
Yeah,
the
yeah.
music of the show is really good. Like the OSTs, the actual openings and endings. Actually listen to some of the OSTs, especially like Grab It by Your Own Hand is really good. It's
Hmm.
different than the other mechas that came out before the show came out. It's not a like Gundam space battle opera kind of thing. No, it's not a your big O, desolate world kind of thing. It's kind of it's as if Transformers met Gundam because they do
Huh.
transform. They have wheels on their vehicles, robot things. So they do some of them transform to like a car that can drive around, and some of them drive around. They have like pretty much Heelys on their robots, and they can some turn into like a plane while they're flying and shit. And
Okay.
there is romance in the show, but it doesn't it's not the big main focus. It is a focus, but it's not the big main focus that it revolves around a drama romance kind of thing.
Okay.
That was my last point. You can say your dumb thing now that you wanted to.
Okay. Great. My first introduction, and I don't know if I should be saying this in podcast, but fuck it. I think we've made really bad jokes on here.
Of course
My
we have.
first introduction, I think, was this around when we were in middle school or in high school? I can't really remember. Oh, well, I guess it was what around year 2000
High
something.
school.
So
It's
yeah, so probably in
2005.
high school because it was on Adult Swim, right?
It was on Friday night, I believe.
Okay. My first introduction was this show was hentai online. That was the first time I've ever seen anything about it. And then when I saw it on Adult Swim, I'm like, "That's a show?
So this is your Lavina.
Oh, that was it for you."
Yeah.
Your dear woke up to make fun of me, by the way, right when I said that. She's passed out on the couch. I didn't hear what she said, but oh, she said, "No way." I'm so surprised. Um, yeah, like I think probably the most memorable thing. I don't know if I should talk about the last scene of the show
I
because
would not.
if we're
And I know exactly what
yeah,
we're gonna say, and it is amazing.
okay, okay, then
Yes.
yeah, I won't say it then.
Yeah.
Because that's probably
Yeah. Yeah.
the very ending is the most memorable thing I remember about it.
Yeah. I
But
would like to. Oh. As a side note, which I will probably have this up in for when I put in the descriptions and everything. There is a season 2 to this one, and then there is a movie, Pocket Full of Rainbows, which is amazing.
mhm. um, I haven't really watched the show, unfortunately, so I can't really say it like I'm a lot like how Mikey said. But I have seen like clips of it and everything, like from tuning in on like Adult Swim, be like, "Oh, that's a thing I saw." Oh, okay, and like but yeah, I I'd recommend it too because from what I saw, it was really good, and from what I know about it, and from what everybody said, good recommendation.
Thank you.
Okay. Um, my second one is Love Hina. Funny that you said that. It's funny that you said that because that was the next one I was going to mention, and I have a similar story. These are going to be kind of bad. I didn't plan on this to happen like this, but so I guess the first thing I want to say about Love Hina is my introduction to it, which is this is what more I want to talk about because when I was in middle school, I never really read manga, and it was always hard to get a hold of anime. Like, I think my
Mm,
first exposure to anime, like Pokemon and the Dragon Ball Z, and anything on like Toonami and stuff like that. So when a friend of mine came to school, he was like, "Yo, guys, I went to the public library, and in the kids section they have like an anime, like they have like anime comics. They have this thing called Love Hina, and there's naked girls in it with boobies." And we were like, "Whoa, no way!" So we would like lunchtime, we would go like huddle in the corner, and he'd pull it out of his backpack, and we were all like, "Whoa!" And it was like it's kind of like that manga style of like sort of being censored, where like they don't show nipples. So we were all freaking out over this one thing, but we were like, "Whoa!" So I think I borrowed it off of him, and I actually legit read it, and it was like volume 4 out of 13. But I actually really liked the story a lot. And I was
mm-hmm.
following it. Like they were looking at it like it was porn or something, but I'm like, did you actually read this? Like this is interesting. So I started collecting the volumes. Like I went to the library. They only had volume like 4, 5, and 6 or something. And then it blew my mind that at like the bookstore they started getting more. And I'm like, I can actually buy these. And I think there was one point like the front covers that had the characters and the girls on it, and it wasn't really like that bad. But then I asked my mom to get me like volume 10 or something, and volume 10 had them in like very skimpy bikinis and barely dressed.
Yep.
And she brought it to me, and she just handed it to me, and I was like, "Oh God!" Like, would she think? Like, did she say anything? Like, I don't know if I should send you the picture. Um, just so you could see what I was talking about. Because I just googled it right now.
I
But
could. You said it to me after.
oh, I can send you after. Okay. I don't know if you want to like edit in the video and show like this is what I asked my mom to get for me, and I'm like I'm so embarrassed.
I
But
might put. Yeah, I might put it in. You send it to me after.
okay. But yeah, that was my introduction to it. But as for the show itself, like it is another harem one, and it is guilty of like all of like the
All
harem
the
tropes and
tropes. Yeah.
everything. And like if you want to, I guess it's kind of more of like nostalgia for me than anything else because it's like this was like a big anime when I was younger. I was like really into this, like super into the story. I really wanted to know how it was going to end, and like I don't know. I feel like if you really do want to watch a slice of life or like harem, like there are better choices, but I guess the good thing I can say about this is it has a really like goofy sense of humor.
I was just saying
Like
it was. I thought it was really funny.
Yeah, it was really like slapstick at times. Like I think one of the most memorable things is there was the one guy, I think his name was Seta. He was like a teacher, and he would just like come up, like burst out of a be in his van and just go off a ramp and like crash there. And he'd be like, Seta, you're back. And he's like, yeah, I came back from my trip. He's like, no, your back is literally on fire. And he like put it out like, oh yeah, whatever. But like, it's just like dumb
Yeah,
little goofy comedy like that. It was really like cartoonish. But I think one of the ongoing jokes is that they punch him to the moon and he'd
yeah.
literally like fly across and like crash into the ground, break his neck, and get up fine. And they're like, "Oh, you're invincible. There's no way you could die." And he's like, "No, it's not true." But yeah, I wanted to tell about the story of like my first encounter with it because that's the most memorable thing I had about it. It's just being in middle school and being with friends and like, holy shit. But why don't you tell your first exposure to it?
So my first exposure is maybe on the same wavelength. It's actually about the time that I was starting to get into anime and like actually starting to get into anime. I think I had already watched my first anime online, which is funny enough. Fruit Baskets
Oh, really? Oh, that's funny.
was the first anime that I watched online off of the TV.
Oh,
And
I got you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I was on Newgrounds, and I would be playing as you do as a kid. You'd be playing the hentai games and the arrow games and all that shit, the sim games,
It was
dating
a lot
sims.
worse back then.
It was pretty bad. And Love Hina was a dating sim, and I typed it into Google the one time to get to it, and the show popped up, and I'm like, this dating sim has a show.
I it's really funny that you played that because I also grew up playing that game too, and like there was a point where I had that game memorized. Like I knew everything
And
about
you
it.
get and you go the cheats to get the other characters in and shit.
Yeah, yeah. It had cheat codes in it. It was just like a cheap flash game that some like 10-year-old kid made, and he did the whole works to it. It was pretty well made for like back then in like the Newgrounds era.
And it
Also,
hardly had any viruses.
I was Google searching the Love Hina like cover to send to you, and for some reason now Google says Patricia Abad.
What?
I don't know. Ivan Tan, Filipino visual artist, born in Bosco. I just kind of popped up. Anyway,
Interesting.
so what's your second anime you
So
want to
my second
recommend?
animation is, I don't know if you ever heard of this one, Boken o Beat, otherwise known as Beat the Vandal Buster.
Oh, I know what that is.
You have watched that one.
I don't know if I haven't watched it, but I've heard the name. The
So
Vandal. I'm looking it up just so I have the
all right.
visual as you're talking about it.
So Beat the Vandal Buster is a really awesome fantasy anime. Not an isekai. Fantasy. That's right.
It's
That's what
really bad. You have to clarify that nowadays.
back in ancient times, we had shows that weren't isekai but were still fantasy shows.
Did we talk about like what the first isekai was back then?
We
Because
have not. We should make a separate video on that though.
yeah, because I think it was El Hazard, but I could be wrong.
I think
Because that was
we
gonna
did a
say
Google search one day,
yeah. Or
and
were
we
you looking up the first harem?
we did both, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Beat the Vandal Buster is a really interesting series that takes place in a fantasy world, and it is kind of a game like setting to it, in which if you defeat monsters and they look at your experience and shit, and then you level up and whatnot.
Huh.
It's not an isekai.
That
Just gotta say it
that
again.
sounds like an isekai.
I just gotta say it again. There's no memories of modern Japan, and there's no cheats that they use. It's none of that. It's a good old fashioned fantasy.
Okay.
The story is actually really interesting with all the different characters and all their different backstories and whatnot. I don't want to spoil anything to it, but like Beat and like his friend is Paola is his childhood friends, and then Saiga, I believe, is also his friend. And
Man,
yeah,
now what we're talking about all these, I want to add like way more to the list because
yeah.
like I'm like I should have talked about something else instead of what I
I
picked.
told you I have 11, and this is the 11 other ones that I had written down on the little note. Is just ones that popped into my head. I didn't actually do any more research into the ones that I've actually
Yeah.
watched. Um, the biggest thing though about Beat the Vandal Buster, at least to me, is the villains are really cool. Think of Hunter x Hunter and the chimeras with those types of villains, and like
hmm
those are all the main villains. They're
Um,
really cool. It is
I'm
really
actually looking at visual, like like pictures as you're talking about this,
yeah.
and is this kind of like a Shonen Jump kind of thing? Would you say, or not really?
It is kind of like
Oh,
a
oh,
yeah.
as I said this, it says "Beat the Vandal Buster" Shonen Jump graphic novel. So yes,
Yes, yes. I was gonna say yes. It is. It is kind of shonen. Yes.
I just answered my own question.
There's. It's definitely. What was it friendship, guts, and was it perseverance or something? The three key
Victory,
victory
friendship, and
victory.
effort.
Yeah, victory, friendship, and effort. There it is. It
I'm
is.
disgusting Yadira as she woke up to be disgusted by what we just said, and then she went back to bed.
But yeah,
She's kind of like she's kind of waking up and knocking out in and out just to like mock me and then go back to sleep.
but yeah. It is definitely not your normal shonen. Um, if you it's not your what do they have now? It's not your Black Clover. It's
Yeah,
not your Fire Force or Fire Brigade or
I clicked on Google Images and it says one of the characters' name is Shaggy, and it's just this really weird looking rabbit man. So that's interesting.
yeah, yes, the characters are all very interesting. It's think of early Dragon Ball
It
with
really looks like that.
yeah.
Even the villains' designs and stuff, like some of these guys look like Cell or like Frieza or something like that. Maybe that's going a little too far, but
And
um,
I don't want to spoil anything, and I'm not gonna spoil anything, but sadly, I don't think there's a sequel to it. Um, but the way the anime ends, it was definitely like not the way I expected, and definitely made me want to watch a second season. Like I was like, holy
um,
shit, I need
did
more
it
now.
did it end like inconclusively
It
or?
ended, yeah, it ended like your typical like Inuyasha first ended, like we're gonna keep searching for the Shikon jewels,
Oh,
kind
that's
of thing.
painful. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, but it's really
Um,
fucking good.
I'm looking at some of these pictures and I really like his sword. It's kind of like this big sword, and it's got like angel wings on the back of it, and it's really decorative. It's super cool. But yeah, that sounds cool. I've only heard the name. I've seen the pictures, but I've never watched this ever.
It is really
So
cool, and I had tried to find the manga since then, and I have failed. I mean, I guess
yeah.
if I deep searched deep searched, if I deep searched now with my intensive weeb knowledge of the interwebs, I can maybe find it somewhere. But
All right. You mind if I do my third one
yep,
now?
floor's yours.
Okay. I'm actually going to mention an action one now because I just did two like harems in a row, or one that's technically not a harem. So I'm going to talk about Full Metal Alchemist.
Ooh, nice one. I was debating on whether to pick that one.
Yeah, I had a feeling that you were going to pick that one, so I didn't know if it was good, but I'm like, maybe I'll get to it first. Um, what's it called? Full Metal Alchemist, I've kind of had a weird history of. That's why I wanted to talk about it. But I guess kind of like the thing about Full Alchemist is I've never completely watched Metal Alchemist,
Either of the
and
seasons? I mean, either
no,
of the series?
well, let me finish because it wasn't until last year I watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
So I never watched the original Full Metal Alchemist series
Mm.
all the way through because I knew it was on Adult Swim back in the day, and I never got around to watching it. Do you remember the first couple episodes with that town and the cult and everything?
Mm-hmm.
That would always be on TV all the time. It would be that episode the episode where it explains their origin, and the episode where the infamous thing we see memes of, like the girl and the dog getting fused. That's not even a spoiler. Everybody knows
Tucker,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So like I'm talking about Full Metal Alchemist, and even like the people I've talked to who either started anime or are not very familiar, they know the name Full Metal Alchemist or seen it somewhere. So like it's not really like an old show that kind of disappeared out of people's like radar or anything. Like it's still around, and everybody's recommending people to watch it. Um, so like I wasn't really watching it at first, and then like I was in art class in high school, and there was this kid, and I swear he must have been like autistic or something. And I'm not saying that to like make fun of him, but I guess people didn't really talk to him, or people treated him like he was a nerd. And I kind of talked to him because he seemed like a nice person, but he was talking about Full Metal Alchemist all the time, and he actually let me borrow his volume of it, and he gave me the first two volumes, and that's when I got to like watch it or read it like beginning to end, or not beginning to end, but just the first two volumes, and I started to kind of get into it. But other than that, I hadn't touched it for so long. When I started dating Yadira loves Full Metal Alchemist, so like she even has the box set of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. She's watched that like over and over and over again, and she was trying to get me to watch that for years. And I was like, oh, maybe later. And then just out of nowhere, I just watched the entire series from beginning out of Brotherhood. Because from what I've been told, Brotherhood goes by the manga,
Yep. Yep.
and then the anime completely does its own thing.
It splits off about
So
halfway through.
yeah, and then like they have two different endings,
Mm-hmm.
and I think people were really not satisfied with the ending of the original one.
Not true.
Oh yeah,
Okay, yeah, just to jump in. So the first one did have a full anime ending, right? Which
yeah,
I can understand why people may be confused as to why the ending was bad. They probably did
yeah.
not watch Conquerors of Shambhala, which was a movie ending to that series.
Oh, okay. So that actually properly ended
That
it then.
actually properly wrapped it up.
Okay,
Yeah, and
because like I've seen like the original series, just a couple episodes. What I told you, what I saw on like Adult Swim and everything, and then I watched Brotherhood. But like once I finished Brotherhood, then like I talked about it with friends, and I looked at pictures, and I saw like a whole cast of characters I have never seen. And I'm like, are there a whole bunch of characters that are in the original and not in Brotherhood? Because like I wish I could pull up a picture and show an example. Because I saw a whole bunch of characters, and I'm like, I don't know who that is. I don't know
well,
who
yeah,
that
because
is.
it's the same thing for the original two Brotherhood as well. There's a bunch of characters in Brotherhood which obviously were in the manga that aren't in the original because it wasn't in the manga yet.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I actually would really have to go back and watch the original series all over again. Now that I've seen so much, but what I can tell you is, Full Metal Alchemist. I really enjoyed that because when I was watching it, and I binged it, like I was watching like 5 episodes every single day, which to a veteran weeb that's nothing, but for me that's a big deal. Like what's it called? There were so many episodes where it was like they're talking about something and they discover some kind of secret or some kind of conspiracy, and I'm like, holy shit, really? And the episode ends and I'm like, oh, you kidding me? And then it's like the next episode and it's like this dude shows up and a big fight happens. I'm like, oh my god. And then the episode ends. I'm like, oh fuck. And then like someone you didn't expect dies and I'm like, are you kidding? They killed that guy? And I think you know what I'm talking about.
I do know what you're talking about. I bet pretty much at this point the internet does too, but let's not spoil it just in case.
Just in case.
Just in
And,
case.
and like I said, like most people have heard of it, but you really have to put it at the front of your anime watch list because it's not like something where it's like, oh, it's gonna be boring and they're gonna be talking and dumb shits. It's like something happens every second. You're
And
not just like, oh man, I wish this would be over.
to put that into perspective, Rivera does not watch
Hmm.
anime. The most anime that he watched is Dragon
Like
Ball,
Dragon Ball.
and then
Yeah.
Avatar, and then
Yeah.
he loves Brotherhood.
Yeah.
He loves it. He
It's
absolutely
really
fucking
good.
he watched it. I think at least twice,
Yeah.
and he's just watched it last year. Like he
I do want to say one thing, like a little detail, and this isn't really much of a spoiler because it's kind of like the first episode. I guess it's like the second or third for Brotherhood and the first for the original. But the first episode with the cult and everything, I feel like in the original they did that a little better, and I only say that because they went into like exclusive like big detail. Um, there is a scene that really like caught my eye when I was younger, and they didn't do it in Brotherhood. Was do you remember the girl? She was like
hmm
following the weird like priest guy,
hmm
and her I don't know, it was her husband or
I
boyfriend
believe his
died.
boyfriend.
Yeah, and she wanted some kind of proof, and she was like talking to her
Squawk.
boyfriend, and it was like oh Rose, and then he was behind a shawl or something. He kept saying her, it was not a shawl, like a curtain or something, and you'd see him like hunched over, and he'd say her name, and she'd like talk to him like, oh, it's proof he brought him back to life. And she pulls the curtain later, and it's like a giant mutated parrot that's just saying her name, and that fucking shocked me when I saw that for the first time. And they didn't do that scene in Brotherhood because I was waiting for that to happen. They did it totally different. And that's not bad either. I feel like I just liked it better in the original.
Honestly, my suggestion for watching Full Metal Alchemist is watch the original series first, watch the movie, obviously to tie it up, and then watch Brotherhood because they
See,
are they are two different shows.
I was told the opposite. I was told to do Brotherhood and then the original. That's why I watched it in that order.
I would say do original then Brotherhood because I do think Brotherhood is better. Um, it goes by the manga. It has its structure, you know, and the original does split off, and it does its own anime
Yeah,
ending
yeah.
like halfway through. And again, I love the original. I'm not saying it's worse in any way. I'm just saying that Brotherhood is better. Like I'm not saying the original is bad. I just think Brotherhood is better. But
Yeah,
I think to
yeah.
get the full impact of how Brotherhood is better is to watch the original first and then see how Brotherhood does it.
That's a good point. Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have any input on this now that you're kind of awake? Okay, she's not completely awake, so never mind. But yeah, that's my third suggestion. So I hand the mic over to you, Mike.
Okay, all right, I got the mic.
This metaphorical mic that we're passing.
So my third suggestion is I've talked about to you quite a lot in the past.
Mhm.
Buso Rankin.
Oh yeah, you even have a little.
I have the little figure of the dude
Yeah,
of
I
Muto.
actually I was wondering what you were gonna suggest, and that crossed my mind.
I
I had a
I
feeling you were gonna mention Buso Rankin.
I love Buso Rankin. It is a nice 26 episode, action packed. It has just the right amount of romance, snappy, like overly dramatic and gushy and stuff like that. Oh my god, the fucking butterfly villain, I love him so much. He
The
is
butterfly villain.
fantastic because he
I'm
you
looking
looking
at
him
him
up.
as you're talking about
Oh my
him.
god, I love that dude so much. I love the chemistry between him and the main
Hi.
character. I fucking the I love secret organization stuff, the behind the scenes kind of thing, and it's great. The superpowers, they're really a bunch of unique superpowers that don't really cross over to being the same. Like it seems like each character has their own thing, and I actually the not dumbass sidetracked just for a second. I read the manga as well, and it's pretty much almost like point for point between the anime and the manga. So you don't have to worry about like, oh, But the manga goes because I just wanted to see if it had a little bit more past the
I'm
ending.
sending you a picture on Discord as we're talking about this, but keep going.
It just has a little bit past what the ending has, like an extra page or two, and that's it. But there is one thing that the manga did that the anime didn't do, or it's one thing that's a difference between the manga and the anime, and one specific fight scene in which they like changed the powers of the person they were fighting against, which is just strange.
Okay.
It's just strange, but yeah, all the people, the villains, everything have really cool and unique different like abilities and everything. I, I guess you could call them abilities because it's like the alchemic devices. So I guess it's like alchemy powers. You can
Oh,
call it
okay.
instead.
So they don't have superpowers; they have alchemy powers or something.
Yeah, yeah. I guess saying like that would be more correct because they have like alchemic powers because they have the little fucking Rinkin thing, and that's like the Rinkin jutsu is alchemy and shit.
Okay.
But yeah, and the main character is awesome. I love the dude. I love him. He's great. Like I just love. He's just a fantastic main character. Like there's nothing
I
that
don't
I don't
know.
like against him.
Did you check the picture I sent
I'm
you?
looking at the picture right now, and yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, cool.
I love that dude, man. He is fucking awesome. Like he goes around and he wears like a onesie and shit, and he's always thrusting, and he has a butterfly mask on.
I'm seeing so many pictures of this butterfly guy, and I'm like, who is this dude? There's literally a meme where it says rival. They don't make them like they used to.
They really don't. Because like they all have their own backstories of the to why they got into either
Ow!
the
Dear, don't bite me.
they all have their
Sorry.
own backstories about why they either are in the secret organization that the good guys or the secret organization that are the bad guys, and they're actually kind of some of them are fucked up. Um, but yeah, like it's fantastic. It's nice and short. Like I said, it's only like 26 episodes, so it's like a nice meal.
A nice meal.
It's a
I
nice
like that
meal.
first.
So I now relinquish the floor to you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have anything really to add to that one because
Yeah, I know you haven't seen it.
yeah. Um I was gonna do another one, but because you mentioned something else, I'm gonna mention this instead. Um because you were talking about the Vandal Buster
Mm,
one, you know what it made me think of?
I don't.
It's nothing like it. I just thought of it. Um, do you ever watch Shinzo?
Yes, I have. Going
I,
Shinzo.
yeah, because like that was on. It was on like Disney or something, and
Disney. It was on not
like
Disney Plus. That wasn't a thing back then. What was the other Disney with the
I don't
little
know, like
fucking little ball, like the little fucking square thing with legs?
Toon. No, it wasn't Toon Disney.
I'm gonna Google this right
It was
now
like
live.
second Disney Channel, and they had it on there. And I don't know why I thought of it when you mentioned it, but I just really was thinking about Shinzo. I wanted to talk about Shinzo. It was really fucking cool. Um, that one, I don't know if this was Shonen Jump or if it was even a manga. Like, I'm trying to look around to see if there's any like manga of it, and I'm only seeing like anime DVDs or like VHSs or something. In fact, there's not even many pictures of it. There's a lot of pictures of Donald Trump when I searched up Shinzo.
Why?
I don't know. Shinzo anime? Maybe that would show me better results. Yeah, there's no Trump here. Okay, and then weird memes. Sorry, I got cold. I didn't mean to take your hoodie, Tira. Um, Yeah, that one was really cool. That was like there were no more humans, and like there were all these like creatures, like these people that could turn to creatures. And that one girl was like the last human, and they had to get her to Shinzo. And that weird like cat dude said he's been there, and he was bullshitting.
Yeah, it was
Um,
based off Journey to the West.
yeah. I'm not sorry. I'm like half arguing with you, dear. Half talking about anime. Oh, There's a picture of it being on Fox Kids, but I don't
Jetix.
remember it.
Jetix.
Jetix. Oh my, that was what it was called.
Jetix.
Jetix.
Jetix. It was. Yeah, it was Disney
Oh
Jetix.
man,
Yeah.
now that you said Jetix, now I want to talk about freaking Now I want to talk about Super Monkey Robot Team
Oh,
Hyperforce Go.
Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go. Where
Oh
did
my
it
god.
say it's the name of the show?
Oh god. There's like, see, this is really hard just to pick five because we'll keep thinking of like new things to talk about.
That's why I said we can make another one.
Yeah, we can make more of these because now as we're talking, I'm like adding things to the list of what I want to talk about. But yeah, Shinzo was great. I love Shinzo.
Shinjo was great. It was fantastic. I also suggest it.
Yeah, that's all I got to say about Shinzo. All right, you gonna do your last one then?
Well, that should be your fourth one.
Yeah. Oh, and then you do your fourth one. I do
Yeah,
the last one. That's right,
yeah,
because that
yeah,
was
yeah.
yours.
So my fourth one is I tried to pick like a bunch of different ones for each one of the five, and so my fourth one is Natsume Yujincho, otherwise known as Natsume's Book of Friends.
Yeah. You dare watch that one?
It is. I love it. I actually own the manga. Every volume that's out.
Yeah, I
Um,
remember you guys telling me about this one. This is like the little fat cat on the shoulder, and then
yep,
there's the
Madara,
yeah,
the cool Madara. Fight
the
me,
cool, the actual cool one,
fight me.
not the stupid, not the stupid Naruto one.
Yeah, fucking Natsume is beautiful to begin with. The artwork for the series, and each season it has 6 seasons that are out, and an OVA and a movie. And
Well,
yeah,
oh, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to
oh,
interrupt you.
and it's just beautiful. Think of Bishojo and like how in Bishojo manga and anime they always have like flowers around everything to beautify. Now take the flowers away, but keep the beautiful. And that's the artwork in Natsume. It also works great for like the action scenes that they have too. It's nice and smooth.
Yeah. Um. Anytime I have a lot of friends who are into like Japanese yokai and like Japanese yokai anime, and like anytime they mention Japanese yokai anime or anything like that, um, what's it called? What are you doing? They this is usually the first thing they mention. Like this is the first on their list because apparently a lot of people I know they can't really find like recommendations on like yokai
I mean, we can do
anime.
a separate video on that because I have a bunch.
I don't really watch a lot of yokai anime myself. Like I think I watch like Ushio Tutora or something like
Oh
that.
yeah, the remake one that they came out right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's really it. And like Bakemonogatari, but see I want to talk about that, but that's like after 2010.
I said
That's like 2000, huh?
I said we could do a video from 2010 to 2020 then too.
I have a lot to talk about from those ones because that's where like most of my favorite ones showed up. But yeah, like if you do like Japanese yokai stories and stuff, this would be a good like thing to start with.
Which brings me into my second point of cool yokai. There are a lot of cool and interesting yokai in this series. It reminded me a lot of Inuyasha, in which like each yokai is unique in its own right. It doesn't really feel like, oh man, this demon kind of felt like the last demon. They each have their own unique personalities and the unique skills that they use and the unique backstories. And that also
Yeah,
goes with humans, the humans in the show as well. The friends that he makes, Natsume makes along the way. They're really interesting cast of like. So I know I said I was going to put the descriptions up on the screen as we talk about it, but
I kind of
Natsume,
described Shinzo, so yeah.
yeah. So Natsume can see yokai, and that's been a problem for him throughout his childhood, and in the series, he starts to meet as he's in high school. He starts to meet his one friend can kind of, or the one person he meets and becomes friends with can kind of see yokai, so they start bonding over it. And then this one girl is going around trying to find ways to see yokai. So then she starts hanging out, and they start bonding. And it brings me to another point. Well, it's actually a really heartwarming story. Like it's kind of a feel good story, really,
Hmm.
because it's about a kid who had a really shitty childhood and has been tormented by yokai and humans alike throughout until he is adopted by a nice elderly couple, and then he starts making friends who are kind of in the same situation as him, and he kind of lives on both sides of the human world and the yokai world.
Um, Not to interrupt you, but Yadir wants us to talk about Beyblade. We're not going to talk about
We're
Beyblade.
not talking Beyblade right now.
I don't know why she wanted to bring up Beyblade.
That comes out of
I think she's
nowhere.
trying to troll me.
That has nothing to do with anything we talked about. Oh wait, Jetix.
Was Beyblade on Jetix?
I believe so. Yes.
No.
I'm googling it right here live, guys.
I think you're right, actually.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Do they have Power Rangers on Jetix? I didn't remember that.
I don't know. We'll just do a whole fucking Jetix series. Let's do it. We'll just do a podcast about Jetix.
We're gonna do anime from 2000 to 2010. We're gonna do 2010 2020, and then just Jetix
Just Jetix.
and yokai anime. These are gonna be all over the place.
I guess the last point I have is much like our series. It's just funny. It's actually a funny show as well. It has some really good comedy
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah. Okay.
So
All right.
wrap up your list.
The last one I'm going to mention, and I think you know this is coming, is my all-time favorite anime of all time.
Thank
Is
you.
Tengen Toppa
Thank you.
Gurren Lagann.
Thank you for not letting me down.
Okay, yeah, of course I was going to mention
Yes,
that.
and
But
that's
on your list too.
well. It's just finish yours.
Okay, okay. So, my first experience with this is from you because I first met you in high school, and do you know what? The first time we had creative writing class, and you wrote that story about Tengen Toppa
Oh
Gurren
yeah,
Lagann
it was
versus
Santa.
Santa. That's the first time I've ever heard of it. Because I asked you what was Tengen Toppa, and then you described it to me as like the best anime, and then I went and watched it. So you made this like fictional story in school of Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann versus Santa
It
Claus
was
and his own mecha.
it was Santa rode the Tengen Toppa and fought the Power Rangers.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say it wrong.
Go into
So
Dragon Mages / DeviantArt to find the full story.
oh, that's right. You actually did post the full
I
story.
did post it. I think I
I should
completely.
go back and read that.
But
Um,
please don't. It's horrible.
I should do it for this video. I'm gonna go do that right now.
Now we're gonna have a live reading.
A live reading
What did
of
I
Mikey's
name it?
story.
Tengen Toppa Santa Lagging or something like that. It was something really fucking stupid.
Um, so like, it wasn't even like my first anime, but it was like one I really got attached to because you know, I don't really talk about that much in the channel, but I want to be my own like comic book artist and I want to post online and I always talk to Mikey about like story writing and characters and like plot lines and stuff. And when it comes to um story writing, like Tengen Toppa, the way like oh man, I can't even put it into words. Like its story beats and its kind of style and like theme. That's kind of how I want my comic to be, like a Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. And I do things a little differently in my own writing style, but like um, it was like the first time I saw an anime with such crazy and explosive like animation. And nowadays you have a lot of animes like that have really crazy animation, but like I heard it was from Trigger, and Trigger made all these crazy animes like that, and like I'm sure it makes me so sad because this is my favorite anime of all time, and every time I talk to people who are younger or don't watch a lot of anime, they never hear of it, and then they talk
Mm-hmm.
about Kill la Kill,
Mm-hmm.
and then you dare raise your hands and shook your hands when I said that. Um, And like it kind of makes me sad because Kill la Kill lasted the test of time, but Tengen Toppa didn't.
Mm.
And like I love because like you go to conventions and people would always talk about it and there would be fan art. And now, I mean, they still is, but like now everybody wants to know about Kill la Kill now. They don't really remember it, and it makes me really sad that's the case because I love Tengen Toppa, and I'm not shitting on Kill la Kill at all. I'm just saying that like Tengen Toppa was always my favorite, but um, like God, like I'm just this is more of me gushing about how much I love it so much. I mean, the only negative thing I could say about it really is there is the third episode. I don't know if you remember this, Mikey, but I think it's the third or fourth episode. They had this weird thing where they changed animators only for the episode.
Is that
They're
the one where they
having
went to the like onsen?
no, it was before that.
It's before that one.
It's when they met that guy. What was his name? The
Oh,
guy and the sisters.
Kitan
Yeah,
and the
that
black.
episode where they met Kitan. Um, they
That's
actually had some kind
siblings.
of issues with animation, and they had to get another team. There was some all kinds of like drama about that, but for that episode, it was like a completely different animation, and people were like disgusted with the animation. Um, that would probably be like the only negative thing I could say about it. It's just kind of weird. And then the rest of the series, it goes back to regular animation, but the regular trigger animation. But I think why Tengen Toppa like is such a big deal to me personally is because it really inspired a lot of my art and art style, and that's like super big important to me. You know. Do you have anything to put input? I know you have a lot to say about Tengen Toppa.
Well, I'm gonna save my input, and I'm gonna actually wrap up with my fifth one too.
Okay, I thought that was going to be your fifth one. I felt
So
like I stole that from you.
so my fifth one is Tangatopa Gurren Lagann Movie 1, Gurren Hen,
Oh,
and
come on!
Tangatopa Gurren Lagann Movie 2, Lagann Hen put
You
together.
can't do
I
that.
just did, motherfucker! Because they both came
It's
out.
just
They came out between 2000 and 2010.
it's you're just mad because I took your
No,
anime
no,
from you, and
because
you're still gonna talk.
see, that's why I wanted you to go first, because I knew you'd pick Tengen Toppa. And I
So
picked the
you
movies
wanted to
on
talk about the
purpose.
movie?
I picked the movies on purpose because I knew you would pick Tengen Toppa, and I would want to pick Tengen Toppa too, but I'm like, I'll let Andrew have that, and then I'll just take the movies.
Well, okay, talk about the movies, and then Yadir was suggesting like a list of things, like miming it to me. So we could talk about one more anime.
Alright, so I actually did pick the movies for a reason, because yes,
Hmm.
I did had a lot of things to say about Tengen Toppa. And some of the little you touched on, the animation, which fuck, it is beautiful, man. like
Yeah.
it's gorgeous. Trigger really really nailed it with the animation, and you see it in yes, Kill la Kill, Little Witch Academia, right? It's
Yeah.
fucking beautiful.
Even in
Yes, BNA.
even brand new Animal, yeah, which I
Yeah,
just watched first three episodes today, and that's a really good show.
it is really good. It has a mix of comedy and seriousness, and I think they mesh it well. Where it's not too much comedy, where it's just a joke, and it's not too serious, where it's just a downer all the time.
Yeah.
The story, man, woof. Actually, in the movies, they actually change some of the story around, and they change how some of the fights are. Like in the series, not to spoil it, but there's four kings, and they go through and they fight the four kings on the way to fight the big guy. I'm not gonna
I
spoil
actually
anything more
don't
than that.
even. I don't even remember what all the four kings were. I'm
So,
pretty sure. Oh, god.
oh, I do. Uh, I don't want to spoil them though.
Okay.
But in like the movie,
Oh,
they don't.
dear, get up! There's a bug on the floor right next to you.
All right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt the video. There was a centipede that went right by you, dear. I wanted to bite her. Keep going.
So in the movie, they actually fight all four of the four kings at one time, and like they do their own crazy got together then, and it's like they do that and they change a bunch of the fights. They change it has its own movie ending compared to the anime.
Yes, I love that ending the
It's
best.
so fucking good. Oh man! Again, I don't want to spoil anything. All I'm gonna say is show Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. Oh, it's
Yeah.
so cool. And it's to actually continue on that point. It's so fucking over the top, man, and I love it. I love shit that is dumb and it knows like it's dumb and it rolls with it.
Well, it's fun dumb.
Yeah, no,
Like
that's what
it's
I
dumb
mean.
on
Yes,
purpose.
yes, yes, that's what I mean. Like it knows that it's fucking like over the top and like it's like stupid over the top, but in a good
Yeah.
way. And I fucking love shit that owns up to that and runs with that shit and says, you know what? Hold my beer. We can go further.
Yeah, yeah, I love stuff, and that's a lot of like Trigger stuff too. Like Trigger's famous for having that like dumb, crazy action, and but that was my first experience with a Trigger show with having dumb, crazy action, and even before then, like
I've
I haven't
seen.
really watched animes like that. Even if they did exist, I haven't really watched animes like that. You know,
I watched Little Witch Academia, the OVA.
was that around that time or was that way after?
The OVA
Yeah,
before the Little Witch Academia anime series.
yeah. I feel like the OVA was way after Tengen Toppa.
Oh, what's coming up right now is the fucking anime. Actually, wait. Let me go to here and yeah, it was 2013. You're right.
Yeah, I that's what I thought.
You're correct. You are correct.
Yeah, because then after Tengen Toppa, I was like really in the mood for Trigger, and then Needless came out, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a
yeah.
fucking letdown.
We
Let's
don't
not
have to
talk.
talk
We're
about
not
that
talking
one.
about that. We're not talking about that one. Let's just move on.
Um, I think this actually will be the last anime I'm going to talk about because we have a centipede crisis that interrupted the video. So I'm going to deal with that.
Before you leave, all I'm gonna say is mention my last wrap up for Tengen Toppa, which is actually pretty
Okay.
funny. In which I watched it on Google Videos before YouTube,
Oh
and
wow.
I watched the first 26 episodes. I went to bed all pissed off because you know how episode 26 ends. I woke up the next
Hmm.
day, and then episode 27 just aired that next day.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
That was just perfect timing. But you can go ahead
Um.
and go deal with that. I'll just say some closing shit, and we can wrap up this first suggestion video.
All right. Cool. I'm gonna give the headset to you, Dira, and I'm gonna go kill this intruder in my house. So I'm sorry that the video had to end with me hunting down a centipede, but I saw it skitter across the floor, and it was right next to you, Dira. I was like, get up, get up, get up!
As
Help me.
our video is sure to end with.
Centipedes attacking. So, all right, this is me signing off, I guess.
And so to say a couple ending words, we will probably make another video of suggestions like this because, as you heard, we have a lot more to talk about and a lot more that we wish to talk about. And we will probably make, maybe do some different genre videos. Like, oh, let's do our top mechas or, our top action. And if you have any suggestions of top blank or any suggestions of, hey, or any like questions of, like, do you have any suggestions about, well, that has the same thing of, like, do you have any suggestions about blank? Ignore that last part. So yeah, if you have any suggestions, or I just circled right back around, didn't I?
Yeah.
I just circled right back around to what I said was the stupid thing.
Sorry.
What I was trying to say is, if anybody has any questions about any genres, like Andrew said, some people can't find recommendations. That's the word that I was looking for. Any recommendations about a certain genre? There we go. I'm smart. I went to college. Any recommendations about a certain genre? Then just put them in the comments, and maybe we'll just do a video about that. And then maybe next time a spider will come in, and we can end it by killing that. Ending. Any ending words, Yadira? That you'd like to add?
Not really. I'm just very amused by Andrew right now.
Jim, I kind of wish that this was like streaming Andrew live, running around trying to find a centipede and kill it.
Well, he has a flashlight on his phone. He has the fly swatter.
This reminds me of when I it reminds me of when I saw a centipede run past my room and it crawled into my bed and I chased around with my cane.
Oh,
there he is.
Now I kind of. Oh, I heard a smack. I hear some more smacks.
I don't think that was a centipede. It was a big spider. There you go. It was interrupted by a spider.
And you know what? Much like anime, tune in next time to see if Andrew kills the centipede and spider. And catch you on the flip side.